Hey YouTubers, it's me, Lonnie Clark again, That's for Art. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you subscribing. Please remember to subscribe and share my channel with people. Tonight I'm going to be reading a story, as you can tell, how a coal baron's wish list became President Trump's to-do list. This was a story I saw on the internet. Let me screen share with you guys. Pretty interesting little bit of news. You wonder how our president got his ideas, right? Like, where did it come from? And I honestly, when people tell me that Trump's just like everybody else, no, friends, he's not just like everybody else. We have never really had anybody who's so egregiously disregarded the law. Oh man, I have this plugged in. I don't need these earplugs. Goodness gracious. I did an interview today with Donna Gilmore on this, and I forgot to hit start broadcasting. It was really kind of sad. We lost everything. But let's get to this story so we can read it. And Donna showed me a trick that I didn't know about. So let me see if I can remember it. Like she says, I can make this fill the screen. Where was that thing? Oh, well, I don't think I'll spend much time on it. But there was some kind of a way to make the whole screen big like this. But we'll just scroll down. Oh, excuse me. I still got that cough. I'm mega dosing on vitamin C. So hopefully that will help. Hang on just a second. Let me mute the phone. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully that cleared my throat well enough to just read this whole thing. So this is the story that I saw where New York Times, I saw it a few days ago, January 9th, how a coal baron's wish list became President Trump's to-do list. Here he is, air things and all. They're pumping air into this old, you know what. Robert E. Murray, executive chief of the largest coal mining company in the United States, at Clean Power Plan hearing in Charleston, West Virginia in November. Not a very becoming picture. Who wrote this story? Lisa Friedman. President Trump's first year in office has been a boon for the coal industry. Let me make sure that this is actually capturing it. There you go. It is. President Trump's first year in office has been a boon for the coal industry, with the Trump administration rolling back regulations on coal-fired power plants and withdrawing the United States from the Paris Climate Change Agreement. Environmentalists have expressed alarm at the new direction and have complained that Mr. Trump was following a blueprint from the coal industry. A confidential memo written by the head of the country's largest coal mining company suggests they might not be wrong. A memo was written by Robert E. Murray, a longtime Trump supporter who donated $300,000 to the president's inauguration. In it, Mr. Murray, the head of Murray Energy, presented to Trump a wish list of the environmental rollbacks just weeks after the inauguration. And I do have this document opened up over here, okay? So when we're finished with the story, we're going to go over and look at this. Nearly a year later, the White House and federal agencies have completed or are on track to fulfill most of the 14 detailed requests, even with Monday's decision by federal regulators to reject a proposal by Energy Secretary Rick Perry to subsidize struggling coal and nuclear plants. The March 1 memo, which was obtained by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island and shared with the New York Times, is addressed to Vice President Mike Pence. The sweeping wish list of regulatory overhauls includes ending regulations on greenhouse gas emissions and ozone and safety mines. Wow. And mine safety, ending regulations on greenhouse gas emissions, ending regulations on the ozone, and mine safety. I keep reading that backwards. As well as cutting the staff of the EPA at least in half, and by overhauling the Labor Department's Office of Mine Safety. I give President Trump and his administration for being bold, being passionate, and being correct in addressing a lot of these issues that were on my wish list here, I'm sorry, I said wish list. Photographs of portions of a different memo dated March 23rd and addressed to Rick Perry, the Secretary of the Department of Energy, were obtained by the magazine In These Times last year. They were taken during a meeting Mr. Murray held on March 29th with Mr. Perry and others at the Energy Department, according to the magazine. So this is March 1st, is when this was the date of the letter released by Senator Whitehouse of Rhode Island, dated March 1st. By March 29th, these were taken, the portions of a memo dated March 23rd. 3 weeks. How clever. They work really fast and hard, don't they? Mr. Murray on Tuesday described the memos. Let's take a look at the calendar. Let's go take a look at 16, by the way. Oops. Because we'll see how many weeks it was. So it was March 3rd. It was 3 weeks. Look. 1, 2, 3 exact weeks to the day. 3 weeks, folks. Mr. Murray on Tuesday described the memos as very similar. The March 1 action plan for the administration of President Donald J. Trump is aimed, Mr. Murray wrote in the memo, at getting America's coal miners back to work. He also asked the federal government to cut funding for carbon capture and sequestration technology, which Mr. Murray called a pseudonym for no coal, and eliminate a 2009 EPA ruling known as the endangerment finding that was the legal justification for much of the Obama administration's climate change policy. So the EPA ruling known as the endangerment finding, we'll find that out later. This list was to remain private, a list of things that needed to be done for reliable, low-cost electricity in America. That was my number one goal here, was to give guidance to the administration in an area that I have observed for over 60 years. Critics say Mr. Murray's list and the apparent case with which he was able to get it in front of cabinet members and others illustrate the open-door access the Trump administration has offered energy and other industries as it moves to redirect and weaken federal regulations. The astonishing presumption of this list, Mr. Whitehouse, a Democrat, said, it's an extraordinary arrogance of the fossil fuel industry based on the power they wield in Washington, D.C. He said even though Mr. Murray had bragged about the action plan on a Frontline documentary last year, the Energy Department had declined his request to immediately release the memo. The power of the fossil fuel industry around here is so great, I think the industry feels they can count on simply not complying with requests, Mr. Whitehouse said. The Energy Department did not respond to a request to discuss the memos from Mr. Murray. The Trump administration has had an unusually close relationship with Mr. Murray. He and 10 of his miners were invited to watch the president sign an executive order to roll back President Obama's climate change regulations. He met with Mr. Perry to discuss the needs of coal producers. His longtime attorney, Andrew Wheeler, is awaiting Senate confirmation to the number 2 slot at the EPA. And David Setazalo, the nation's top new mine safety and health regulator and previously the president of a coal mining company, told his hometown paper that Mr. Murray had encouraged him to put his hat in the ring for the job. Let us open this in a new link, and let us open this in a new link. Jeffrey Homestead, a lawyer for the firm Bracewell and a deputy administrator of the EPA in the George W. Bush administration, called Mr. Murray's action plan an ambitious list. While interest groups always try to influence a new administration, Mr. Homestead said Mr. Murray's status with the administration sets him apart. I really don't think it's at all unusual that Murray would have his wish list or a set of recommendations. What makes it different is that it's pretty clear that he has a personal relationship with the president, Mr. Homestead said. It seems like he's given Mr. Murray's relationship, it seems like given Mr. Murray's relationship with the president, that he has had more of an expectation that these things were going to be accepted or implemented. One item not on the list, yet important to Mr. Murray, was an order of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission rejected Monday to subsidize struggling coal and nuclear power plants. Mr. Murray railed against that decision, saying that it would lead to decommissioning of coal and nuclear power plants. Good! Environmental groups have accused Mr. Murray of directly asking Mr. Perry for a proposed rule to reward coal and nuclear power plants for providing grid resiliency. The March 1 memo does not mention the grid, though photographs of the cover page on the March 23rd document to Mr. Perry obtained in these times shows it's focusing on a plan for achieving reliable and low-cost electricity. Soon after Mr. Murray's meeting at DOE, Mr. Perry ordered the agency to prepare a study on the country's electric grid reliability, a precursor to ordering the federal government to subsidize struggling coal and nuclear plants. Mr. Murray and a spokesman, Gary Broadbent, said the difference between the two memos was that one provided to Mr. Perry asked the Energy Department to study the security of the nation's power grid. I suggested that the study be made, Mr. Murray said. What they did from there, the administration did. I do not have involvement in it. Yeah, right. One of the items on the 14-point list was an overhaul of the FERC regulations, and the Trump administration accomplished that. But those Trump-appointed commissioners voted against the plan to bail out coal and nuclear. Obviously, they forgot who appointed them right out of the box, Mr. Murray said. Listen to this. Yeah, he thinks he did this. Now let's look at this memo. Is that the memo? I'm pretty sure. We'll go up here and we'll click on these memos because this is insane. These people are really insane. Okay, here's the little box. Open that link. What does it say? Yeah. Oh, that was it over here. Okay. We'll stay with this one. It says Murray G. Energy Plan. Okay, so check this out, you guys. This is very interesting. March 1, Murray Energy Corporation. Shoot, I wish I knew how to do that thing that she showed me so I could take up the whole screen. Nope, that's not right. Sorry. Okay, so this is it. Encloses an action plan for the administration of President Donald J. Trump, which will help in getting American coal miners back to work. We have listed our suggestions in order of priority. We are available to assist you and your administration in any way that you request. Robert E. Murray. Plan of action number one. Number one, Clean Power Plan. The so-called Clean Power Plan must be eliminated. Murray Energy Corporation obtained a stay of this rule before the Supreme Court of the United States on February 3, 2016. This illegal rule will close an additional 56 fire-cooled electric generating plants, totaling 53,000 megawatts, on top of the 101 megawatts, 411 coal-fired plants that President Barack Obama and his Democrat supporters have already closed. This does really piss me off every time someone I think the Democrats ought to take this back, because they were not called the Democrat supporters. They're Democratic supporters. Democratic Party. The National Democratic Party, not his Democrat. Endangerment findings. It just sounds so ignorant. Grates against my nerves. Endangerment finding for greenhouse gases. Listen to this. With the overturning of the Clean Power Plan, there must be a withdrawal and a suspension of the implementation of the so-called endangerment finding for greenhouse gases. The EPA's endangerment finding under the Clean Water Act serves as the foundation for the agency's far-reaching regulation of the economy in the form of emission limitations for greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide. The high degree of uncertainty in the range of data relied upon by the EPA. Boy, isn't that the fucking truth. The high degree of uncertainty in the range of data relied upon by the EPA, which means they don't rely on real science, combined with the enormous regulatory costs without concomitant benefits, merit revisiting the endangerment finding. According to the EPA's finding, the root cause of recently observed climate change is likely the increase of anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions. Anthropogenic means man-made. EPA relied upon computer-based climate model simulations and a synthesis of major findings from scientific assessment reports with a significant range of uncertainty related to temperatures over 25 years. I'm calling bullshit on this because what they were relying on is actually unqualified, non-scientific evidence. The climate model failures are well documented in their inability to emulate real-world climate behavior. That is a complete lie. Models that are unable to simulate known climate behavior cannot provide reliable projections of future climate behavior. As for the scientific assessments underlying the synthesis of findings used by the EPA, many were not peer-reviewed. And what? As for the scientific assessment underlying the synthesis findings used by the EPA, many were not peer-reviewed, and there were multiple instances where portions of peer-reviewed literature germane to the endangerment findings were omitted, ignored, or unfairly dismissed. Wow. So what this is basically saying is that the endangerment finding didn't believe the coal industry and saying nothing was wrong. Let's go look at what the endangerment finding looks like. Let's go see what that is. Oops, sorry, guys. Endangerment finding. Here we go. So what does that say? Let's go on this page. This will tell us this. Okay, established standards of the endangerment finding. Okay. On October 20th, 1999, the International Center for Technology Assessment and several other parties petitioned the EPA to regulate greenhouse gases from New Motor Vehicles Act. The petitioners argue that carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and hydrofluorocarbons meet the definition of an air pollutant under Section 302G of the Act, and that statements made by the EPA and other federal agencies in the United Nations Intergovernmental Plan on Climate Change amounted to a finding that these pollutants are reasonably anticipated to endanger public health and welfare. So this is really bad. Let's get back to this guy. Not that one. Not that one. Where are you? Murray. Here we are. So this was the third part of his wish list here, folks. First, it was what? Roll back the Clean Power Plan. Forget closing the coal plants. Endangerment finding. Forget regulating greenhouse gases and all the regulations that's required to keep the environment safe. Eliminate the 30% production tax credit for windmills. And let's kill the wind and solar industry, right? Eliminate the 30% production tax credit for windmills and solar panels and electricity generation. But let's keep giving the billions of dollars to the oil and the gas industry and the coal industry. Electricity generated by windmills and solar panels costs 26% per kilowatt hour, with 4 cents per kilowatt hour subsidy from the American taxpayers. These solar sources are unreliable and only available if the wind blows or the sun shines. What the fuck? What planet does this guy come from? What a fucking idiot. No, sir, That's not true about the sun. Sun does not need to shine for us to get electricity from our solar panels, you dumbass. Same thing with the wind. They can make it go different ways. If you live in a place where there's wind, you're going to have wind most of the time. Fire cold electricity costs only 4 cents per kilowatt hour. Actually, it costs way more if you add in the other costs that you were leaving out of it, like the destruction to our environment. Low-cost electricity is a staple of life, and we must have a level playing field in electric power generation without the government picking winners and losers by subsidizing wind and solar power. Really? Like they're subsidizing? What did you want them to do here? Keep these subsidizing. What are they saying here? The illegal rule will close an additional 50 fire coal electric generating plants. You know why? Because they're taking away your subsidies, you dumb, horrible monster. I'm going to refrain from cursing. Withdraw from the illegal United Nations COP21 Paris Climate Accord. Need I say more? Ding. You know, already done, right? And the electric utility maximum achievable technology and ozone regulations. Wow. We have one issues in the United States Supreme Court, and those rules must be completely overturned, and they are doing this too. Fund the development of certain. So what does this guy say right here? Low-cost electricity is a staple of life, and we must have a level playing field in the electric power generation without the government picking winners and losers by subsidizing wind and solar. However, we do want you to subsidize low-emission coal firing plants, right? Must support the development of some clean coal technologies, including ultra-critical combustion, high-efficiency, low-emission coal firing, combined coal industry, and others. It should not fund so-called carbon capture and sequestration, as it does not work practically or economically. Democrats and some Republicans use CCS as a political cover to insincerely show that they are proposing something for the coal, but carbon capture and sequestration is a pseudonym for no coal. And isn't this what he's doing? We did hear that he is subsidizing this. Overhaul the bloated and politicized Mine Safety and Health Administration of the U.S. Department of Labor, which we read about they have already implemented. This is so outrageous. This federal agency over the past 8 years has not been focused on coal miner safety. F you, you pig. I can't even respond to this pig. This is why Trump makes me sick. He's implementing all this without his little freaking insecure pea brain from even looking into any of this stuff. He's just a disgusting human being. Trump just deserves to go to jail for what he's done to our country. I am telling you what. Members of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission must be replaced. Here you go. Let's just kick these people out. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has a record of favoring actions of the Obama administration that have destroyed the reliability of. This is just such a lie. And have led to skyrocketing power, as Mr. Obama, who appointed them, stated would occur in 2006. Members of the Tennessee Valley Authority Board of Directors must be replaced. I haven't looked into this, so I cannot say, but I can almost guarantee that's going to happen. Replace the members of the National Labor Relations Board. That actually did already happen. That's right. Employers' position and needs not automatically accede to the unions and unionize employees in every considered manner. So fuck unions. This guy is just one evil bastard. Seriously. But you know who's worse than him? The pig Trump. Let's see what this says. Trump nominates a coal lobbyist to be number 2 at the EPA. Unloading of coal at a power plant in Kentucky. Andrew R. Wheeler has worked as a lobbyist for Murray Energy, one of the largest coal companies in the United States. That was his attorney from this first story. That was the first. Wow, man, where's that original story? Here we go. What did he say his attorney was? He said that was his attorney. So he's nominated this guy's attorney. That's unbelievable. This is just like, yeah. His longtime attorney, Andrew Wheeler, is waiting the Senate confirmation to the number 2 slot. Trump nominee. Here we go. So he was not only an attorney, but he was a coal lobbyist. It didn't say that. He was a coal lobbyist. Did they say he was an attorney? Former aide. Announcing Mr. Wheeler, a former aide to Senator James Inhofe, to deputy administrator of the agency, the White House tapped an experienced legislative hand, reviled by environmental activists, but hailed by the industry of having the know-how to dismantle Obama-era fossil fuel regulations. So what is the date of this? October 5th. So I hope these stupid Democrats have held out. Wow. What's this? Oh, this is the little snorkeling pig. He even has like the pig face, doesn't he? Sorry, I should not make fun of him. Sorry, God. God dang. There is no more qualified than Andrew to help the Scott Pruitt restore EPA to its proper size and scope, Inhofe said in a statement. Inhofe never saw a regulation he liked. Dr. Sheldon Whitehouse, a Democrat from Rhode Island who has made climate change one of his signature issues, said in a statement that Mr. Wheeler's work for Murray Energy should disqualify him for the position. In Andrew Wheeler, the president has yet tapped another fossil fuel industry lobbyist to help capture the Environmental Protection Agency for big polluters. He should not be allowed anywhere near the office to which he is nominated. But here we are. Wow. Oh, Lord. So what did Bob Murray tell his hometown paper, the Charleston Gazette? He encouraged Zetazalo to seek mine safety post. David Zetazalo talks during an interview with the Wheeling newspaper Sunday after he was nominated by Donald Trump to serve as labor secretary for labor of mine safety and health. So who is this guy? Zetazalo said that a number of coal industry contacts, including Murray, reached out to him, urging him to come out of retirement and apply for the post. I'm quite happy and pleased that President Trump has chosen to forward my name and to advance me. So what does he want to do? Also, Zetazalo refused to discuss in detail the history of safety problems at Rhino Resources while he held a major management position, including CEO at that company. A spokesman for Murray declined to comment on the nomination or Zetazalo's statements. Oh, Lord, this guy is a serious polluter. One of Rhino's mines received back-to-back warning letters from the MHSA about a pattern of violations of the operation. Another Rhino mine was targeted by a rare MSHA lawsuit after agency staffers said they caught officials there providing advance notice of MSHA inspections to workers underground. Cheating, cheating, cheating. Under the Trump administration, the MSHA is in the process of settling a lawsuit brought by Murray Energy over an Obama initiative that would tighten the agency's pattern of violations. Wow. Regulations by, and among other things, eliminating the warning letter step to speed up the process of enhanced enforcement for mines with repeated violations of federal safety and health rules. So who cares about the safety of the workers? Murray Energy owned the Grand Old Canyon mine in Utah, where a series of collapses in August 2007 killed 6 miners and 3 rescue workers. This is so outrageous. Wow. Zetazalo, 62, lives in Wheeling now, but grew up in Weirton and is a cousin of Delegate Mark Zetazalo, Republican Hancock District, who is on the House Energy Committee's vice chairman for coal issues. Zetazalo earned a degree in mining engineering in West Virginia University and completed the Master's Business Administration at Ohio University. He began his mining career in 1974 with Consolidated Coal as a laborer and United Mine Workers Union member. And once he moved into management, became a top official at the former coal holdings of the American Electric Power. So once he got into big money, he was like, up yours, brothers and sisters in the mining industry. Wow. Well, I don't know why I'm shocked by any of this, but I thought I would share it with you because this stuck in my head for several days. And now we know how our president comes up with his brilliant ideas. Now we know how he ends up coming up with the ideas for any of the destruction that he's caused on our planet. I'm just outraged, you guys. I mean, like beyond outraged. And I don't know about you, but I cannot wait to take to the streets at noon on January 20th. I'm going to be out in front of the federal building, and I think there's going to be at least 5,000 people in Eugene, Oregon. And I hope that every single person who subscribes to me, who is as outraged as I am, takes to the streets on January 20th, next weekend. And have your posters, get your little piece of cardboard on it and write something. Because this is outrageous. This is not, we are working to make America better, to be better people, to be better. Not just make America great again. What the fuck? America's never been great. We've been murder, death, kill. I want us to work to be better. You know, what makes America great is our drive towards equality and humanity. And filling the government with people that are willing to destroy our planet is going in the wrong direction. So I'm going to end here. Put your courage feet on, you guys. And you know what? Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I'm going to be doing an interview on my Google Plus feed. I'm going to ask Donna Gilmore if we can make it live. She's so gracious. We did it today, and I forgot to hit the record button here, and none of it got captured. So we're going to do it again. And it's probably going to go the 57 minutes for the interview, and then we're just going to finish the conversation, so it might end up being like a 2-hour deal. But that's going to happen tomorrow morning, Pacific Standard Time at 11 o'clock. And I appreciate you guys coming here and being interested in these stories. And I just hope to see pictures of us out in the street on January 20th, because it's up to us. This is the land that we live in. And whether we're disillusioned at how it really is, you know what? We can make it something better. And it's up to us to make it better. And that means standing up to the face of corruption and adversity. So that's what I'm going to do next Saturday at noon in my town. And I think all across America, there's going to be protests at noon all across America. So look for them. Look in your city, because there's someone organizing it. So put your courage feet on, you guys, and we'll talk to you, I guess, tomorrow. Take care. Ciao.